Hello, 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 everyone. We are back for another Barkley Marathons 2022 update. Race time is 39:14:56. Whew, it has been pretty wild. We've got a lot of updates to go over, so we are doing this one live. I'm going to give you guys a few seconds to get on in here, but it is getting quite interesting. Hello, everyone. Can you hear me out there? If you can, let me know. Good evening, good evening. It is 9 p.m. here in Arizona. And all right, sounds like we are good to go. So race time 39:15. That is important because the fun run cutoff is coming up, the 40-hour mark. So I wanted to go live and hang out with you guys in anticipation. Will we see five fun run finishes this year? Two more. We've got two more runners on course. We could see the first women's fun run since I believe 2014 or 2017, maybe. I mean, since 2012. I believe it's 2012. It could be 2014. We will clear that up. So it is getting close, but let's take a quick look. We can certainly figure that out here. So yeah, there's our race time up there in the corner, 39:16. And as Keith Dunn here on Twitter says, Jasmine Paris, who is our woman that is out on loop 3, will she and Thomas Dunkerbeck finish their fun run under the cutoff? So if you have not tuned in lately, we have Carl Saab, we have Gregory. Oh my gosh, I'm just going to pull this up, folks. Oh, where did my spreadsheet go? I lost it. I lost my amazing spreadsheet. From Taka Does Stuff. Go check him out on Twitter. Put together this awesome spreadsheet. So here are your current standings. So we've got Carl Saab. He is on loop 4, as is Greg Hamilton from New Zealand. They both finished a fun run in 2019, their last time here. So they are doing quite well in the race again. And John Kelly came in. We're going to get to that here in a little bit. We've got a lot to kind of catch up on. He did finish loop 3 under the cutoff to continue, 35:26, but he did call it. He did not go back out. And then Thomas Dunkerbeck and Jasmine Paris of the Netherlands and England, they are still out there. And they are, of course, quite a bit over the cutoff to continue onto loop 4 at this point, but they can get credited for a fun run. I've been in this boat multiple times of coming down to the wire. The first year I went to Barkley, I was 5 minutes under, so it is definitely possible. 39:55. That was back in 2014. We can see here 39:55, 57. I finished with Alan Abbs and just behind John Fegavaresi, who was running with us. It's brutal. It is stressful. You know you are on that bubble for many, many hours. And then again in 2019, had another close one, was running with Tomo and Johan, and we did a 39:38. So this is definitely familiar ground. And let's see here. And then 2015, I had a pretty good year in 2015. So 21 hours for loop 2, was leading the race with John Kelly, and did an 11:57 loop 3, and went back out on 4 and had an epic experience out there. So we're going to be here. We're going to stay live, and we are going to stay with it and see if these folks can get in under there. And we're just going to hang out and talk Barkley. So please jump in the chat. Let me know if you guys have been following along, if you've been enjoying the show this year. Of course, we had quite a bit of drama this year. We had 30 people finish loop 1 and head out on loop 2. and only, as you can see, 30 people with a loop 1 finish, and only 6 finished 2 loops. So it was a night of total annihilation and carnage. And of course, we just had 3 finish loop 3 under that 36-hour cutoff, and only 2 remain at this point. And I would say that Carl is in pretty good shape. I would imagine that he will get on and start loop 5. It's anyone's guess what will happen at that point. Loop 5 is very rare event at the Barkley, and no one has gotten to loop 5 since 2017, when John Kelly and Gary Robbins both got onto loop 5. Very kind of hollowed ground, and it's the bell lap here at the Barkley. So they do ring a bell, just like the last lap at a track race. So it'll be fun to, hopefully we can catch a video of that or something. So, the question here from Slow Jam. So is there no one left to finish the whole race? There are still 2 people that could finish the whole race. So Carl and Greg, both still in the running. We'll see how they do. And so true. The Barkley where dreams go to die. Yes, they do. Mine is not dead yet. We're going to keep it alive a bit longer. But okay. I would like to show you guys this incredible... We're going to actually copy that. And, oh, look, see? The results pop back up for some reason. Okay. We're going to go to Twitter, because John Kelly, everyone, I saw a tweet from, if you want that spreadsheet, this is where you go. Go to Twitter and find Taka_does_stuff. And he has a tweet at the top where his spreadsheet is. He's European, so I'm also going to retweet his spreadsheet, see if that can help get the word out. Let's see. Oh yeah, people thanking us for the stream. You bet. This has been a lot of fun for me. I love talking Barkley. I am obsessed, just as obsessed as anyone could be about this race. It is my favorite event in existence. Is there any support personnel along the loop? No support on the loop. There are 2 water drops, so they put jugs of water out there, purified water, and other than that, no. They're at the fire tower, which is the high point of the mountain range. Crews can access it. Well, crews can go up there to see the runners, but they can't really interact. They can't give them anything. They can't give them updates or talk strategy of any kind. They can basically clap for them, take a couple pictures, and that's it. Cool. Some people found the spreadsheet. That's awesome. Happy to help out there. Okay, so Keith Dunn, of course, is our other great person to follow, and I would imagine he will be the one that will update us on whether or not they got this fun run finished off. And let's see here. So I saw this tweet earlier. John Kelly finished loop 3 in 35:26:09. Obviously tight for that 36-hour cutoff. He only had 34 minutes to turn it around. And he was looking rough after the second one. He was in the bathroom, the heated bathroom, and took 2 hours for his turnaround. So he got pretty smashed. It'll be interesting to hear his race report afterwards. And then we also had this update. Jasmine Paris was overheard at the fire tower. That's where the crews can go up to, saying the fun run doesn't seem like the right word for it. All right. Then John Kelly decided not to continue to loop 4 and tapped himself out. So they play taps on a bugle, and you'll hear it here in a second, but he tapped himself out apparently, and I think he's done this before. So I responded, said video, and then here we go. Maggie tweeted this back. Let's start that over. Every time I hear that, it is brutal. I've been tapped out myself 6 times now, and I totally feel that song just echoing through the forest brings back so many emotions myself. So there it is, John Kelly, a Barkley finisher, another fun run under his belt, tapping himself out just a couple of hours ago. And that's how the Barkley goes. Some of its brightest stars, as we saw John early in the day, loop 1, looking like he was on top of the world. And overnight, that first night, last night, was apparently brutal. Freezing rain, fog, cold temperatures, wind, pretty wild stuff. So I totally see. I've been there where all these folks have been, and like Harvey Lewis and Courtney, they couldn't find, I think, book 7. It's near Leonard's Butt Slide. They were wandering around. It's a tough one to find, and they gave themselves another half hour, and they were so cold. They just said, we'll give it one more half hour to wander around. The thing that happens is when you slow down and can't find a book, you're not working as hard, you get cold quick. So they apparently couldn't locate it and had to return to camp via the Quitter's Road. So yeah, let me know in the chat if you guys have questions about this event. Happy to answer them as a veteran of the race and a huge fan of the event. I'll share some more stories here in a little bit. Ryan Krause says ominous. Definitely a good word for it. It's the hardest race possible. I would agree with you. Would you say this race is harder than Badwater? 100% harder than Badwater. I mean, Badwater has a fairly high finisher rate. This race has an abysmal finish rate. It's like 0.1 or 0.2% of the people that have ever started it have finished it. Question about bib number 1. So that is usually reserved for what they call the sacrificial virgin. So of course you need to apply to enter this race and essentially convince the race director, Laz, why you should be allowed to run. So this is obviously a race that not everyone can enter. They only have 40 spots each year that they can accommodate due to just the nature of it. And so it's tough to select that. I don't know if they publish how many people apply, but I think it's in the hundreds, potentially 1,000 or more that do find the application details and do submit to their applications. And they've got to get that right mix and balance of people for the event. And it's typically always a mix of veterans and virgins, so people that are first timers and then people who have been there before. And it's an important mix to balance. I mean, if they just sent 40 people that have never been there before and had no real knowledge, I think it would end pretty quick. With the mix of people that have been there before, there's some knowledge that gets passed down, and you kind of learn from one another about the course, and the mystique and the respect for the race and the mystery of it all kind of comes together. So it's a really interesting, special event. Why am I not running the race? I thought you were training for it. I was training for it this year. Just had a lot going on here at home and withdrew from the race about a week and a half ago. So I will hopefully be training up and just continuing to train for a future edition. Just tuned in, Jody McDonald. Yes, so right now we are waiting to see if we will have 2 more fun run finishers, Jasmine Paris and Thomas Dunkerbeck. They are right now, they have about 30 minutes to go under the fun run cutoff in order to get an official fun run. It's still possible. As I was saying earlier, I've had 2 close calls myself, finishing at 39:38 and 39:55. And there are 2 people on loop 4. So Carl Saab and Gregory, oh my gosh, I keep forgetting his name. I am so sorry, everyone. Greg Hamilton from New Zealand. So he began his loop 4 at 34:54. So what, he's been out there almost 4 hours, and then Carl has been out there almost 7. So he is in pretty good shape. I would fully expect that Carl will start loop 5. That is my prediction at this point in time. He looked really good, and he is a total beast when it comes to this sort of thing. What are my thoughts on Greg's potential of making loop 4 inside Cutoff? I think it's, let's see. Greg's going to have, 35 hours. So he's going to have 15 hours, right? If I'm doing my math right, 35 to 48. 13 hours. 13 hours. Through the night, I don't know. I think that's gonna be a close one. It's gonna be a close call. I think he could sneak under. These guys are on loop 4. They're gonna have to go up the meat grinder as long as that's still in the race, from which was a new climb in 2019 and is absolutely heinous. And they're gonna have to go. I guess for him at that point it'll be back. Oh, it'll be in the dark. It'll still be in the dark, which is brutal. I guess they did in the day. Like, meat grinder in the dark is nuts. Absolutely nuts. Given the secrecy and application process, how did anyone sign up for the first Barkley? I mean, it's evolved. So the race has been around since 1985. I would say I recommend picking up the book Tales from Out There by Frozen Ed Furtaw. It has like the entire history of the Barkley, so I highly recommend it. I will pull it up right now. So right here, Tales from Out There, the Barkley Marathons, the world's toughest trail race. So this has some amazing information about the history of the race, how it got started. I mean, he couldn't find people to run this race when it first began in the 80s. He had to invite people to come out, and he's writing letters to people in the 80s just to give it a shot, kind of like pen pals back and forth. Frozen Ed was one of the first people that ever showed up and gave him the time of day. But yeah, I mean, the history of this race is rooted in James Earl Ray his escape from the local prison. So it's pretty amazing. Kevin points out that Greg is an amazing navigator. Absolutely. So yeah, I mean, there's no mistake about, there's no coincidence that these guys are on loop 4 right now. I mean, these are some of the most incredible athletes from across the globe. And this is like the hardest version of the Barkley Marathons these days, even way harder than it was like 6, 7, 8 years ago when we were having like 1 to 3 finishers every year for like 8 years in a row. Let's see, only a 20-mile loop, I believe. So yeah, they say it's 20, but it's probably more like 24 to 26 miles, depending on the year. They'll add mileage. They'll clearly add distance to the race. Like, you see the map from the year before and the new map, like, that's definitely longer. He still calls it 20 miles exactly, like 20.0. Thomas Dunkerbeck finished loop 3. Okay. It looks like we have another fun run. I don't know. Let's see. Thomas Dunkerbeck has finished loop 3. All right, 39, 27, 46. He's got a fun run. That is awesome. So we've got, at this point, 4 fun runs so far. And now we wait and see, is Jasmine Paris going to be our first female fun run finisher since, and now I'm going to look that up. Okay, I think 2014, that was the year that I finished, 2013. Bev Anderson Abs fun run in 39:09. So 2013 was our last women's fun run finisher, Beverly Anderson Abs. Fun story, the Abs, Alan and Beverly, they are the first people they're the veterans that I followed the first year I went to the Barkley. So in 2014, I saw what they did that year, and I was thinking to myself, well, there's no way I'm going to stay with Jared, because Jared was running it again, and that was true. And you can see that from the results here. Jared ran an 8:02 first lap, and then I was with this pack of John Fegavaresi, who finished in 2012, with Alan Abs, with Bev Abs, Jody Eisner was with us. We had a great pack, and yeah, good stuff. So yeah, thanks to Jared Burton for pointing that out. Finishing loop 3, that is awesome. 20-mile loop, but crazy climbs and harsh trails. I mean, absolutely, it is pretty nuts, the trails that are out there. What is Laz's running background outside of the Barkley? So, man, he's been running, I think he ran in college and in high school. Then he started running ultras in the 70s, I believe, 70s, early 80s. And he did a lot of kind of journey road running. So he would like take a map of Tennessee, and he would try and run every single road, connect the whole network of highways and everything all together. So he would like highlight them as he checked them off. He would go to one area, run all of them. So like kind of the every single street idea, but he would do that maybe before it was cool. So here we are, if you're just tuning in, this is like the final countdown towards the fun run cutoff here at the 2022 Barkley Marathons. We just had our 4th fun run finisher. We have 2 runners that are out on loop 4 right now. They're the only 2 that are going to be able to go for 4 or more. And we are just waiting to see. We've got, as you can see in the corner of the screen here, that is the race time. So 39 hours, 37 minutes. The overall cutoff of the race is 60 hours, and the fun run intermediary cutoff to be considered a fun run finisher, which is quite a prestigious accomplishment. There are not many fun runs out there or this year. That's coming up here in just about 20 minutes. And let's see. Trying to see when she left compared to Thomas. That is going to be interesting to see. Where's Jasmine Paris? I can't find hers now. Where did she come in is the question. I'm sure you guys maybe have these stats quicker than I can get to them. Jasmine was 23, 38, 31. Okay, so they were really, really close. So I would hope that she's close, like really close. Let's see. Please explain how much of the course is runnable versus hiking. Well, I would say, all the downhills are technically runnable, although like there's a lot of cross country, so you are just bombing down steep hillsides essentially in quite a few sections. There are some sections of trail, some sections of dirt road. Man, the off-trail climbs, pretty much all the climbs you're not running, you're just hiking up them. But there is a few flatter sections that you can run, but I would say it's more minimal, I don't know, 30% or less. But you're running extremely steep grades. And let's see. Can you bring your phone on the course? Absolutely not. You can't bring a GPS watch or even your own watch, period. The race provides a watch to you, and it is like a basic $8 Walmart watch. And we are just going to keep updating this here and seeing if we have a women's fun run. What place is Goggins in? That's funny. Hillary Thornton, I think it's called the Human Sacrifice, not the Sacrificial Virgin, although they are virgin. Okay, so it could be the Human Sacrifice. Question here, what watch am I rocking? So this is the Coros Vertix 2. Pretty incredible watch. I have had this since December, and the battery life is totally insane. And it's got a lot of really cool features in it. So yeah, it's been awesome. I can do like a crazy 12-hour all-day race, and then I don't even have to charge it for like the next week or more straight. It's great. What happened to Random Forest Runner? So John Kelly, Random Forest Runner, he finished the fun run in 35:30 approximately, and then he quit. He tapped out. If you can't bring your phone with you, then how are we seeing actual footage of runners going up Rat Jaw? So I don't know what footage you are seeing. There are the one place on the course that media is allowed and spectators are allowed is the Fire Lookout Tower atop Frozen Head Peak, which is the highest point on the race course or in the park itself. And so you might be seeing some imagery from the top of there. Some photographers do get permission to hike down the first pitch of Rat Jaw to get some of that perspective of them coming back down and going up. But other than that, that's all you should be seeing. Matt says he's a filthy casual that runs 30 to 40 miles per week using an Apple Watch. I think there's nothing wrong with that. Let's see. How much info is provided for the locations of the books? Great question. So they're marked on a map, and then there's a written description of where they're located. So it might say, you go to this confluence of these creeks, and it's in this rock behind this tree, essentially, with like a bunch of other like colorful, interesting language that's throwing you off and trying to confuse you along the way. Does Lias have a permit to close the entire park? Can't people just walk on? Yeah, the park is still open. So there are, from time to time, people just out there enjoying the park. But it's highly discouraged. Like if you know about the race, you're highly discouraged from like being out there as media. Like it's very much frowned upon, and basically don't do it. Just don't do it. Part of the mystique of the race is that a good part of the race is not covered by any sort of media, and there's no people out there. Like it's you against the elements, and it's you literally out there. Like you are versus the woods, versus the challenge of the terrain. There's not a lot else out there, and that's why there's like, we'll go 14 hours without hearing a word about any runner and their status. We have no clue. We're just guessing what's happening out there. We might get one snippet of information. Like there was someone at the Fire Lookout Tower when Jasmine was up there, and all we get one thing in 13 hours that says, was overheard at the fire tower saying fun run doesn't seem like the right word for it, which is kind of sweet. Is it true that once you tap the yellow gate back into the next loop, you can no longer touch or receive anything from your crew, even though you're still in camp? So yeah, it's once you receive your next bib. So your bib, you get a fresh bib every lap, and that bib number is the page you tear out of the book. And so once you get that page and you accept, or that bib, and you accept it, you are on your own. You cannot get support. And there's been times where people, and Laz always says, are you sure you have everything before he hands you that bib? Because there is no mercy once that happens. So you take that, like, oh crap, I forgot my compass at my car. Sorry, you're going out without a compass. Good luck. Can't watch this guy anymore. Too full of himself. Thanks for coming. Did you forget a compass one year? Yeah, one year I forgot a compass at camp after I got my my bib, and I did have a backup one in my pack, fortunately. What's the most time you have spent wandering around looking for a book? So, oh man, hours, hours and hours. Yeah, there's like one, I think it's, man, what book? I don't know what book number it would be. It'd be like book number 3 in the counterclockwise direction. And I mean, there's these big chalk stones up there, basically huge cliff of rocks, and a bunch of them are like all in a row, and they look all the same. And I've like been wandering around on top of all over these rocks so many different times, and yeah, countless hours, definitely. Let's see here. Inside 20 minutes. Come on, Jasmine. Let's see. Jason asks here, the amount of books to be found determined by the number of entrants, or just a random decide by Laz? I think it's kind of decided upon the course. You know, they want to put enough books out there so that they really started putting the books out there according to Frozen Ed back in the day. I think he's the one that suggested it, because there was a year where they couldn't prove that someone did the full loop, and so they wanted some sort of validation that people made it around the whole course, and so they decided to hide these books. And so they'll add and subtract books based upon what the course looks like to try and ensure that you do the whole course. Like they'll put them in certain areas that proves that you went to all of them. Let's see. Have you heard of... Let's see. Have you considered bringing back the Barkley Million project for your next attempt? Definitely. Have you learned watching that you'll incorporate... Have you learned anything watching what you'll incorporate into your next attempt? I really want to look into some pacing strategies based upon past loop times and see if there's something interesting there, like being a little more conservative on the front end. But it's tough. It's tough when that weather hits. If you have good weather, you might want to bank some time just in case. Have you heard of the Revenant race in New Zealand? No, I haven't. Is that exceptionally stressful, running Tennessee mountains, looking for books? I can't imagine. I love it. I love searching for the books. It is the most fun thing for me. It feels like a scavenger hunt in the woods, and absolutely love it. The thrill of finding a book is pretty amazing and pretty fun. So if you're just tuning in, we are almost about 10 minutes away from the fun run cutoff. We still have Jasmine Paris that could finish a fun run. It would be the first women's finish of a fun run since 2013, Beverly Anderson Abs. She's got 10 minutes to get back into camp from loop 3. And we only have 2 runners on loop 4, Carl Saab and Greg Hamilton. And John Kelly and Thomas Dunkerbeck both are also fun run finishers this year. Are the books in the same locations for all loops? Yes, they are. They do not move once they've been placed. So does it get easier to find them? It really depends on the conditions. If there's a lot of fog, it's harder. If it's night, it's harder. If you go in a reverse direction, it can be more challenging. So yeah, not always easier. Who's left? We've got Jasmine Paris on loop 3, and then you've got Carl Saab and Greg Hamilton on 4. Has anyone taken another runner's page by accident? I believe this has happened before, yes. There's been some weird stuff happen out there. How much are you able to use past experience as far as navigation? Are the changes each year significant? Definitely, past experience is worth a lot out here. Once you kind of learn an area, you can learn some of the weird landmarkers out there and start to commit it to memory, which means you don't need to pull out your map and compass as often, which is great. Do you think it's possible for non-elite to finish? I know John F. has called himself a non-elite. I imagine the course has changed since he won. Yeah, I mean, excuse me. Yeah, I mean, I think I don't know. I mean, it just depends. I think, like John, I think proved that anyone who is willing to work super hard and devote themselves to the demands of this race can finish it. And I mean, I still haven't figured it out, but yeah, I think anything's possible. Was it you that recorded that time out on the course in a storm? Yeah, so there was one year where Laz was asking for volunteers to carry GoPros on course and film, and they were using it for like an HBO documentary. And so there was like a few of us that carried GoPros, and yeah, he gave me permission to put that out there, but he hasn't let anyone take cameras on course since then. Aside from the weather, sleep deprivation, fog, what makes finding the book so hard? Is the course that remote and unmarked? I mean, it's completely unmarked, and I mean, yeah, a lot of the areas look the same, and I think daylight is completely different than finding the books in the dark. You can become so disoriented. It's hard to judge distance at night. You have to use a lot of the natural landscape, the rivers, the creeks, cliff faces, certain trees, things like that to help define where you are and find yourself in the landscape. It's definitely challenging. So a prize for finishing the race. No, there's no prize. Laz, I think, says the prize is that you don't have to go out on another loop. Is during the race the only time you're allowed off trail in the park? Yes. So you can only go on the like marked trails in the daylight in the park. You're not even allowed to be on the trails in the dark. I just sent you an Instagram DM with the rat jaw footage of the course. It is a TikTok video. Okay, well, I'm not going to play that here, so I will look at that, check it out. I know Carl's story, but what about Hamilton? I'm just learning about this world. I don't know a lot about him. I probably should know more, but if anyone knows anything, let me know. We are coming up pretty close, guys. This is going to be a close one. About 6 minutes to go. As I was saying earlier, finished 1 year, 5 minutes to go. So it is possible. We'll see. Does anyone nap on course? Absolutely. I've napped several times. John Kelly 1 year left for loop 5 and took a nap 50 yards from the yellow gate. He was that tired. He didn't have any time left to nap in camp because he was like minutes away from the cutoff to start loop 5. And so he just left camp and went right off to the side of the road and started sleeping. Does Laz sleep? Sometimes. It just depends on the year and the cadence of the runners coming in. We got some fingers crossed for Jasmine. So I wanted to be live here to see if she comes in. We will know in about 5 minutes whether she makes it or not. We are refreshing Keith Dunn's Twitter here, try and find out. Matt says, I hope everyone remembered to get their daily Wordle solved while they're back in camp. John is elite. He has top 10 at Ironman Kona, among other results. He was a local and a less well-known story. Yeah. All right, we're all pushing the vibes for Jasmine. How far from camp can you see lights coming down Bird Mountain? Typically several switchbacks up you can see from camp. Upper Kelly Camp, that's right. John Kelly's nap spot was named Upper Kelly Camp. Are you allowed to carry any form of an alarm with you in case you fall asleep on course? So the race provides a watch. In the past and this year, it was like a cheap digital watch that I think had an alarm function. But last year we had analog pocket watches, which did not have an alarm. Greg Hamilton is a multi-time world row gaining champion off-trail long course navigation races. If you're just joining us, we are 3.5 minutes away from the 40-hour fun run cutoff, and we're waiting to see if Jasmine Paris will become the first woman to finish a fun run under the 40-hour cutoff since Beverly Anderson Abs did in 2013. Let's see. I think I missed a question from someone about running in Phoenix. Looking for high elevation hike in AZ, prefer the valley. Any suggestions? I mean, it depends. Like, do you mean very like a steep trail, or do you mean like high elevation? Because we don't have much high elevation in the Phoenix area. I mean, some steep ones here is like Piestewa Peak, Camelback Mountain, North Mountain. If you want something higher, there's the Flatiron, Siphon Draw. Oh, Jasmine Paris has finished Loop 3 in 39, 49, 56 to complete the fun run. All right, look at that. We got it. Oh yeah, here we go. Jasmine did it. Here we go. First women's fun run since 2013. Hopefully we'll see. If you guys know if there's any pictures of this, let me know. This is incredible. Oh, and there we go. The first person to congratulate her is Beverly Anderson Abs on Twitter. That is so cool to see. You gotta love that. Oh, yeah. That's historic. So cool. So it sounds like Bev was on the edge of her seat as well. That is so awesome. So there it is. It always takes a few minutes for the tweets to get out, but there it is. Let's see if there is, there might be some stuff we can find, maybe from some Instagram action. We saw earlier that John Kelly tapped himself out. And now they will be tapping Jasmine out here shortly. That's so cool. Question here, is she going for Loop 4? So she can't, you have to finish under 36 hours in order to continue on to Loop 4. But yeah, here's a great point from Solenth. Hopefully she learned a lot for next year and can come back and get the 5. I mean, she's absolutely going to get an invitation back now for the race for next year. But yeah, that is a great way to start your Barkley experience. Fun run first year right out of the gates, and very impressive run. The interesting thing to note, Jasmine and Thomas both, this is their first year running the race. So they were both virgin runners this year. and both of them got fun runs. That is very impressive, especially finishing back into the night on that reverse third loop is definitely tough. What's the record for fun run completions in 1 year? That is a great question. I do not know the answer to that right offhand. This spreadsheet that we're looking at goes back a few years. Actually, here we go, all the way back to 95. Oh man, this is great. I can answer that right away. So there were 10 fun run finishes in 2001, and there were 9 in 2011. More recently, there's been anywhere between 1 and 6 since 2013. '11 and 93, apparently. What is the probability on Carl lap 5? I would say high probability he's going to start loop 5, and I think it just depends on when he comes into camp, what he looks like, and when he's going back out. It's Carol. Carol, not Carl. I'm sorry. So we might have to wait a little bit for some information to come up, like in terms of any content from her finish. So we saw earlier, well, here was John Kelly after loop 2. If anyone knows or sees anything, let me know. I could try and pull it up. Wasn't there a guy that would have finished a few years ago but lost a page or was a few minutes late or something like that? Well, let's see. Might be talking about Gary Robbins in 2017. John Kelly finished and Gary came in. Well, he was like 6 seconds over the cutoff, but he also came in from the wrong direction. So he was off course, basically, which you need to stay on course. Let's see. Carol will have some time to sleep. He just might. Yeah, he had quite a buffer. But yeah, he's got to get through this night. And the challenges that come with that, the night navigation and all that. We got the Barkley cats cheering on here. Very, very cool stuff. So for those of you maybe just tuning in here, we just had our first women's fun run finisher since 2013. Jasmine Paris came in 39, 49, 56, so 10 minutes to spare before that 40-hour cutoff. Question here from Mike Coburn. Did the HBO footage get turned into a documentary? It got turned into like a really short piece of content. I don't remember. It might have turned into something. I think there might have been like a longer form, but I think you had to be subscribed to HBO to view it, which I don't think I ever saw it. Great write-up on Gary's Instagram talking about his Barkley journey being complete and done with. Absolutely. Yeah, he was sharing that he doesn't even miss it a little bit. No one left on course except the 2 on lap 4. Correct. Yeah, there's just Carol and Greg. How long do they have to do loop 4? So they have until 48 hours to start loop 5. So there's 8 hours to go before they'll be cut off. It was a spot on HBO Real Sports, I believe. That's from Chris Phelps. Yep. Carol's 7:25 into loop 4. Greg is 5:12. Thank you, Bill. Jan, did you ever shower like Jared? I did do a shower after my fun run in 2015 before heading out on Loop 4, and that was amazing. Thoughts on Brett Mowney's course record in current context? The course then was definitely significantly faster and easier than today's course. Still super impressive what he did. I mean, he's an absolute beast, and I wouldn't be surprised. Like, he would crush this course, I'm sure, as well. 8 hours in the dark, yeah. Well, I think it's what time is it? Is it midnight? Is it midnight in Tennessee right now? I believe it is. So they've got maybe six more hours of darkness, something like that. Shout out to John Sugg, who's keeping track with cool graphics on his feed. Absolutely, there's been a couple cool things like that popping up this year. Are there any adverse weather forecasts in the next 20 hours, or was the storm the worst of it? Yeah, let's look at that. There's actually some interesting weather a couple days further out. So here we go. Yeah, 1 a.m. So no chance of rain. It is in the high 30s in Wartburg. So up in the high peaks, it's probably going to be below freezing. And then tomorrow, it's no chance of rain. It's going to be partly intermittent clouds, kind of sunny, basically a perfect day. Yeah, all the way until sunset. The race will officially end 7:54 p.m. tomorrow night. And then take a look at what happens here on Friday into Saturday. We've got some rain starting Friday night, and the temperature is going to drop. They're going to start getting snow at 4 a.m. on Saturday. A Saturday day, it's going to be snowing in the 20s, and that night it's going to get down to like the single digit temperatures, which is pretty nuts. So they're predicting like 9 degrees as a low on Saturday. So here we go. Let's see if there's any more info here. So yeah, at this point in time, I mean, we're just gonna kind of be waiting. It becomes like a lot of waiting around, especially around camp. There's a lot of runners that have dropped that are getting some sleep, getting some rest, but then when they get some sort of word of someone maybe coming into camp, that's the thing. You don't really have much of an idea when someone might show up. I mean, obviously, 7 hours into a loop, no one's going to show up. But once we start hitting 11 hours, 12 hours, 13 hours, that's when people start to gather and keep an eye out and look. 9 degrees here in Colorado, no one wants to run in that. I mean, I live in Phoenix, and so 9 degrees sounds totally insane. Would they ever reschedule due to weather? No. Basically, no. So they barely missed a balmy weekend on the course. Yes. Hurry up and wait. 9 degrees Fahrenheit. Yes, 9 degrees. That's all in Fahrenheit. Does everyone stick around to the end that got tapped out mostly? Yes. They do. Some people do. I would say not everyone, but a good majority of the people. I mean, most people book their flights to stay with plans through the full 60 hours, but they might take off and they might stick around. Did I oversleep one year? One year I did take a nap, and I almost slept through the Loop 2 cutoff before heading out on my third. I was planning on running this year, but I withdrew about a week and a half ago. So I'm hoping to be back next year. And pull up some chairs and drink some IPAs. Yeah, Absolutely. I was trying to see if we could find a photo of Jasmine. I think there was this Facebook group called Into the Barkley that might have some information. Try and refresh that page. Not a whole lot going on. It's real tough to get info. They're doing a great job of keeping it secretive this year, I guess. Keith is really kind of the only thing leaking information out here. Who are some Barkley finishers you most admire? I mean, pretty much all of them. Andrew Thompson's one of my favorite. Took him 10 tries to finish. He's got some incredible stories of failure on Loop 5. I highly recommend checking his race reports out. Really good stuff. Two degrees here behind Pikes Peak. Man. Let's see. What was the question here? What is the reason behind that? I'm not sure. Park Max, like maybe did someone get your spot after you withdrew? Yeah, I believe they found someone for my spot. I don't understand if aside from Park Max, maybe maximum number of people. Yeah. I mean, the campsite where they hold the race can only hold so many people. And because there's the unknown start time, everyone's got to camp right there within earshot of the conch shell that they blow. 9 is very comfortable where I live. Oh, why is there almost zero coverage? Part of it is they don't want that. That's like by design. They want the runners to be out there by themselves, truly out there in the woods, them against the challenge of the mountains. What is the reason behind the secrecy when it comes to reporting? That's all up to Laz. Why is there only Keith giving info? He's kind of the official communication of the race. Yeah, I don't know. Are the books in the same spot every year? No, not every year. They do move them around depending on the course changes each year. Cool. Well, I think I am going to call it a night myself. And I appreciate you guys coming on here and joining, checking out. I'm sure there'll be many, many more stories and podcasts and things to come out later upon the experience here. But to kind of sum it up for this particular stream, we just saw 2 more fun run finishers. So far we've got 5 fun runs this year for the 2022 Barkley. Well, that's all we're going to have. That is kind of the final results. This will be updated, I'm sure, once this guy gets up. He's in Europe. So Carl, Greg, John, Thomas, Jasmine, those are your fun run finishers for 2022. And we still have Carol, I believe, and Greg out on loop 4. And they've got 7 hours, 45 minutes to finish this loop. So I'm sure I will check back in the morning once we know more about their positions. Hopefully we don't wake up and come to find out they've been tapped out sometime in the middle of the night, but crazier things have happened at the Barkley. But thank you guys again. Hopefully we'll see you soon. Unless something crazy happens, I will hopefully be back on sometime in the morning before the 48-hour cutoff, at least in the morning here in Arizona. So be well, everyone, and we'll see you at the next one.